Not very. All right. So I have just lost Pat out. All right. Okay. So it looks like we are unfortunately missing both of our co-chairs this evening. One of them had an unfortunate passing in the family, so I is not with us this evening. I am sad to say. Okay, so since our co-chairs are absent, Madam Secretary, if it's okay with you, I would like to ask you to call this meeting to order whenever you are ready.
It is 5:34, and I would like to call this meeting to order, please.
All right, the meeting is called to order at 5:34. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump in with a little bit of stuff because I know that we have a couple of new folks with us tonight. So, thank you for being here. My name is Victoria Kelly, and I am the Senior Manager of Organizational Advancement and Strategy, a title I expect nobody to remember, with the Homeless Leadership Alliance of Pinellas. We are here today as part of the Pinellas Continuum of Care, the CoC, Lived Experience Advisory Committee. I am really excited to see that so many folks have turned out tonight and that this group is continuing to do good work and grow. We started meeting back in June of last year, had our very, very first meeting in June, and since then have chartered elected leadership and are gonna start working on some really critical stuff. In February, some members of this group went and had a collaborative meeting with the Pinellas County street outreach providers so that we could talk about best practices, truly best practices for providing outreach at the street level. Today, we're going to talk about some advocacy issues, but the goals established by this committee in previous meetings were really to reduce stigma, ensure that folks are able to utilize resources, meaning that resources are useful, available, and people know about them and know how to use them, and increasing the number of resources and affordable housing, and of course, holding the folks responsible for doing these things accountable. Some really great goals were set by this group, and I'm really happy that we are getting to work with them. So let's dive right on into our agenda. Madam Secretary, would you like to take over the consent agenda, or would you like me to do that?
Let's see. Consent agenda. February 2024 meeting attendance. We had 7 in attendance, 1 member out. Do we need all of them?
We don't need all the names. Does anybody have any edits? Does everybody have a chance to look over? And if there's anything anybody would like to edit or note for the sake of the minutes?
Are we discussing the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to have the floor.
Okay.
According to our charter, which we adopted, the LEAC charter, it says meeting agenda. All members may request items be added to the agenda in advance of the meeting. HLA staff will email the final agenda, including all attachments, information items, and reports to council members at least 1 week prior to the meeting. I did not receive the minutes until yesterday. I would like to make a motion that the minutes, because I could hardly hear anything last time. I didn't know anything. The speakers didn't have a microphone. They sat, anybody who speaks should have a microphone right in front here. And it says meeting accommodations. any leader may request accommodations due to a disability. I was talking with Kat before. She said maybe you can get me a hearing aid or something that works.
Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
But anyway, what I would like to suggest, you know, notwithstanding what happens here when anybody speaks, that they get in front with a microphone and speak this way. The other suggestion I'd like to make is, can be the recorded minutes only. It doesn't have to be the next meeting's agenda or anything, but the minutes of the, just.
You mean the recording?
Yeah, be emailed within 1 week after that meeting to the members. Can that be done? I'd like to make a motion to that. Just the minutes, not anything else about the next month.
The minutes maybe not, but the recording itself, I don't see any issue now that we are recording, because we were not recording previous meetings. That only passed in our last meeting. Now that we are recording the meetings, I see no issue sending that recording out within a week.
For recording, yeah. and emailed online to the within 1 week after the meeting. Let's say that. So today is Thursday. So next Thursday, whatever transpired
we can get the
minutes
out.
Can be put online and mailed.
Not necessarily the minutes, Norm, because the minutes are the written minutes. But the recording, we can definitely get the recording.
Yeah, the recording, but what good does the recording do? How can I access? Can I access the recording online?
We will send it to you.
Send it to me how?
Via email.
Okay. Is it audio?
Yes, and video.
Oh, and
so if you were to look at Mario's computer right now, right now, you would see all of us.
Okay, maybe I'm not understanding correct, because there are some things online, you know, they call them videos, and they come with audio. They're a video, do you know that? Some things online, they're videos, but they have audio and they have CC and it's actually printed with that video, what the people say.
So we're recording it right now. We voted in our last meeting to start recording video, or start recording the meetings. Yeah. We were not recording meetings prior to that, but we voted in our last meeting. And when I say we, I don't mean me, I mean y'all voted in the last meeting to start recording. So that's why we have this guy here. This is our speaker, our camera, and our microphone. And this is taking in everything we have, putting it on Mario's computer. I'm looking at myself on Mario's computer right now, and then we can email that to everyone.
Okay, because I did not receive the minutes until yesterday, online.
Nobody received them via email until yesterday, and that was my fault, and I apologize to everybody for that.
Oh, okay. But can I make a motion? The minutes, however they're transmitted online, can be emailed within 1 week after today's meeting.
So what we can do, Norm, is we will send out the recording via email within 1 week. I'm not promising that we can get the written minutes within 1 week, but we can send out.
But you can send out the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't need a motion for that. That's just something that we can start.
Now, how will the recording be like on a video with CC on it or something? You know what I mean?
Are you getting the closed caption right now?
Closed caption.
Oh yeah. Can you make sure it's closed captioning?
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. He's closed captioning right now, so our recordings will have that. We're good.
You're good.
We're good. We got it.
All right.
We got it.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you, Norm. Thank you. Okay. On that, were there any other notes, or were there any notes on the minutes? No? Madam Secretary, would you like to call for a motion and a second to approve?
What am I motioning?
A motion to approve the consent agenda. But no, we have to. So how we do this, so everybody knows, is for the consent agenda and for all action items, if we need an action for it, we will call for a motion, and then somebody who is a registered LEAC member. And if you're a registered member, that means that your name was printed out on the sign-in form. Somebody on that printed form has to call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. So we have a first and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. So then the consent agenda passes. Thank you very much. And thank you, Norm. You and I will get together after the meeting, okay? Absolutely. Okay.
We have 50 people, a couple people here that from our last meeting that signed the form with their name down, email address, they're not doing it.
It is not the end of becoming an official member, so I don't have that after. Thank you very, very much. If there is anybody on that note who I have been paying attention to the membership applications that come in. So if there's anybody who has completed one of the CoC membership applications and is ready to become, losing the shoe, an official committee member, please let me know. Okay, so now we are going to move on. One of the things that I know this committee asked for are updated cards so that you can pass out information about this committee, about what we do, and quick access to a little bit of resources and ask people to support what we do. So this is what I have done. This is what I have created. It is on page 4 of the packet. Please take a look. This is not set in stone. The format is probably going to be pretty consistent with what we do with other CoC stuff moving forward. But please let me know if there's something that you would like to see on this, if you don't see on this. Okay.
Can I stay on that side of the slide?
If you want.
Yes, I'd like to see the word advisory change to advocacy.
That has to go through a CoC board charter change.
I can do that.
Okay. We will make a note of that for the executive committee. We will bring that to them. We aren't doing charter changes quite yet, so that is a slow process, but that is something we can make note of.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that has a thought on that?
I don't think you're making.
This is a very funny microphone where if you don't have it the exact right way, it's just not going to work. Can everybody hear me if I am this loud? Norm, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna scream. I don't expect everybody else.
Scream it.
I don't expect everybody to be as loud as I am, but I'm an insanely loud human, so here we go. Okay, so is everybody else in agreement? And later on, we can address this as a more formal motion, but is everybody in agreement that we would like to discuss in future then, moving from lived experience advisory to lived experience advocacy? Is that something we want to table for later? Awesome. Then, Madam Secretary, if you could make a note of that, and we will absolutely address that in future. Other than that, are there any notes? We don't need a motion or anything like that to approve this. I just want to know if anybody has any other notes, suggestions. There really isn't a committee phone number. So that if they go onto the website, though, if they go on the Lived Experience website, though, they can submit an inquiry and that'll go to my notes. Yep. Yeah. I appreciate that. So yeah, the Lived Experience website, I updated yesterday, by the way, in case anybody wants to check it out. I think it looks nicer than it used to. If folks go on there, they can make a donation to our cause. They can email me directly. They can see a list of officers and they can learn what we do here and they can see the meeting schedule. Thank you very much for asking about that, Karen. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Are you guys government funded, state funded, county funded?
So in this committee itself, we are funded out of CoC membership dues, really. CoC membership dues and donations.
Yeah. Remember?
That was a question about
You
funding.
cannot hear the people.
That was a question about
And
funding.
they don't have a microphone or a speak unless you can repeat the question.
I was coming over to repeat that.
Okay.
That was a question about
All right.
funding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we are funded through CoC membership dues, which folks who have experienced homelessness within the last 7 years do not have to pay CoC membership dues. Individuals, we have just reduced the CoC membership dues fees for individuals whose homeless experience or who have not experienced homelessness, but if it was more than 7 years, that is now $20. And we also have scholarships available. So if you know of somebody or an organization that would like to join the CoC, but maybe the fees are a little bit too high, just have them reach out to me and we will absolutely work with them because we want everybody who cares at the table, quite honestly. So thank you very much for asking. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, or ideas about having cards to pass out? We will also eventually, once we get some talking points, work on that white page and brochure that the committee had also requested. But in the meantime, in the absence of that, I at least wanted to present something so that we could get that ordered and have something for you. All right. Onward and upward. All right. Madam Secretary. Is now your agenda item.
Oh, that. Okay,
Nope. Hold on. If you could please, make sure you hold this straight down.
straight down. Does that mean everybody can hear me, Norm? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
You
I
hear
hear
me?
you now, yes.
All right.
You're talking, you got the microphone in the perfect place.
I'd like to bring up attendance. It does state in our charter that if you miss 30% of the annual meetings, we can ask you to step down and have your membership replaced. We are a beginning committee. We need bodies that are willing to work and think and get things done. It is approximately an hour and a half a month. And if you can't make it to the meetings, we really, really need people who can. So if you miss 3 of the 12 annual meetings, we may have to ask you to step down and replace your seat. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
We're good. I'd also like to address stipends. Stipends. Well, they're not free. Stipends are for committee members that come here for that hour and a half a month and put in the work. We welcome guests. We like having guests so that they can make up their mind as to whether or not they'd like to join the committee and work with us. Guests will be provided with a bus pass so that the stipends for the committee members will go further, last longer, and our goal is to get our guests to become members. Okay? Okay, our next discussion, we're going to discuss this Senate bill, 1365, that's in the Senate. We're going to try and answer questions. I know several people have questions. People are under the impression that it is currently a law, and it is not a law. We can switch out.
Okay.
I'm prepared to answer questions.
I love that. Do you want to talk about it or do you want me to do a little overview?
Well,
why don't I start with a little overview of the local legislation? Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. Hold on to those for a second and you can talk about what you've been doing as well. I mean,
I have the actual bill somewhere.
awesome. If you think that it would be good to read off, feel free. I thought that it was a little easy. No, really.
Fill out.
Go for it.
I figured that's what I'm playing. The stage is yours.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so what I have is the actual summary from the bill that was proposed. It does preempt counties and municipalities from authorizing individuals to regularly sleep or camp on public property, at public buildings, or on public rights of way within their jurisdictions. The prohibitions against camping or sleeping on public property do not apply when the governor has declared a state of emergency or when local officers have declared a local state of emergency. As of now, this is still just a bill. This is not a law. It is still just a bill. The bill authorizes counties and municipalities to designate public property for public camping or sleeping by majority vote. Before use, such designated property must be certified by the Department of Children and Families that the local government and the property meet certain requirements. A designated property may not be used continuously for longer than 1 year. And except for properties in physically constrained counties that make certain findings, must meet specified minimum standards and procedures. So the DCF has to inspect the property. They have to recommend decertification if requirements for the designation are no longer being met. So they're basically the ones who step in and say, you can continue operating or no, you can't. Effective January 1st, 2025, the bill authorizes a resident, a local business owner, or the Attorney General to bring a civil action against a county or municipality to enjoin practices of allowing unlawful sleeping or camping on public property. When filing an application for an injunction, the plaintiff must also file an affidavit demonstrating that the government entity, i.e. the police, whoever, have been contacted, have been notified of the problem and that the problem has not been cured. A prevailing plaintiff may recover reasonable expenses incurred in bringing the action. Individuals, that would be us, individuals who sleep or camp on public property without authorization are not subject to penalties under the bill. So they're not going to be out arresting us and making us criminals yet. That may come.
So I do want to note that this went to Governor DeSantis's desk a week or two ago and was signed into law, I think earlier this week or late last week. I've lost track of time, as all of you know. So this is something that we are looking at. This is something that we are preparing for as a community to go into effect as of October 1st. So the CoC, the continuum of care, the providers, the elected officials, and local leaders, as well as y'all, will, I hope, work together to come up with some plans. The CoC Executive Committee is meeting and is discussing this, and we'll do so again in our meeting next Friday. The Board of Directors, which I will tell you, the Executive Committee just voted Gary to serve as the other lived experience seat on the Board of Directors. Congratulations, Mr. Small. We will be discussing this at great lengths. We want to have this conversation in this room as well. This is something that is really impactful. It is impactful to providers and to individuals because we all know that there are public camping laws already. But what this says is that if somebody is caught sleeping outside with stuff next to them or a blanket or something like that, the municipality that you are within could maybe be sued for allowing you to be there. And in order to prevent that, they have to set up these safe sleeping sites, basically. The safe sleeping sites have to be in areas nobody will complain about. They have to be movable within 365 days. They have to provide security. They have to provide running water and restrooms. And again, not be in a residential area and not be in an area that people are going to complain about. So this is something that will have a big impact because as a community, as providers, we have to discuss our funding opportunities and how we allocate funds knowing that this is coming down the pipeline. And as folks in this room, we have to consider that and also really, really, I think, and it's not really about what I think, but I think show people how hurtful this is going to be to individuals within the community. The CoC board and the HLA board are working really hard to educate on the costs, educate folks on the resources that are already out there, on the costs associated with arresting folks, over serving folks, and things like that. But I think that it would be really, really beneficial if this group could work on showing the community honestly what they need to see, showing the community what homelessness looks like, showing the community that you know, we're all people who deserve the right to exist in the world. And that's really my hope for where we can go with this, is showing the humanity. Not that you should have to do that, but that's my thought.
I have a statement here from the National Alliance to End Homelessness. The statement is on the landmark Supreme Court case on homelessness. There is a case in the Supreme Court right now on this matter. It is the United States Supreme Court. It is not a state Supreme Court. Okay. They will be ruling in April. And the National Homeless Alliance has addressed it. It's a press release, but I think it echoes how we all feel about it. The Supreme Court's decision to hear the case of Grants Pass v. Johnson comes amidst a growing wave of criminalization across the nation, with efforts at the federal, state, and local levels threatening people experiencing homeless civil rights and dignity. Should the lower court standards remain, the case will reinforce the humanity of our most vulnerable residents. It will make clear the responsibility of elected officials at the federal, state, and local levels to produce sufficient permanent housing solutions and shelter accommodations for every person in their communities who need them. Should this standard be overturned, however, it will provide a pass for elected officials who choose fining and arresting people over providing evidence-based solutions for people who have nowhere else to go. These practices are harmful to people experiencing homelessness, costly to communities, burdensome on law enforcement, and wholly ineffective at ending homelessness. Elected officials at the local, state, and federal levels have many possible tools to help them address the crisis of unsheltered homelessness. Arresting and finding vulnerable people should not be the focus when we know what works. Communities are safer and stronger when everyone has a safe place to call home. The Alliance will be watching this case closely and hopes that it brings a much needed focus on evidence-based solutions to homelessness, like low barrier shelter, affordable housing, and services so that local, state, and federal government decision makers act with urgency to strengthen the social safety net and appropriately fund the Alliance. In other words, instead of fining us, let's spend a little government money and start opening some shelters and providing some low-cost permanent housing. The, what is it, the Local Heroes Fund got $1 million this year. That's to help people put a down payment on a home. The COC to provide an encampment or open a shelter or address homelessness. What do we get? Nada. So we have to stand up and do something. We have to say something. We can't just sit here and talk about it. We have to figure out how to get up and get noticed and educate people. I feel like that should be our main goal here, is education and letting the government know that we will not just lie down. Even if it is in public.
That was brilliant. Okay, let's, Norm raised his hand first, so we'll go there and then right over here.
I was gonna suggest something, you know, since this, if this becomes law or something, I wanted to float the idea of, by the way, this page here is February 28th, media comment?
Yes.
Who was that sent to?
This was provided to media who inquired prior to the bill being signed. This was sent by the HLA, not the CRC, the HLA's board of directors. And I wanted to provide it to y'all so that you knew what kind of statements were being made by the HLA, because I thought that would be useful in planning here.
Oh, but this wasn't submitted to the Florida legislature.
Nope,
no.
That was a statement provided to media inquiring.
I wanted first one idea, float the idea, would it be feasible to engage a lobbyist for Tallahassee?
Why aren't
Because
we
they pass bills such as this.
Why don't we
Somebody, well, I'm just saying, because they passed this bill. You know what a lobbyist is, a person who advocates for the interests of here and so on. The other thing is, since this bill does not provide any funding to the cities, the municipalities, you know, can we engage the senator in Washington from this and the representative? Maybe they can advocate, you know, for funding from the federal government to the municipalities and the county for provision, for example, like set up with the county, in this case, a fenced-in area, provisions for running water, toilet, whatever it may be, for the homeless people, right? So they can be safe from the police. You know what I mean?
So as far as the question,
you follow me?
I do. As far as the question about lobbyists and whatnot, I would like to introduce you to the HLA's new CEO, Miss Daisy Correa here, who might be able to answer a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Throwing it. This is Daisy's first week. Be kind.
Oh,
It's
oh,
day number 4.
Yeah, yeah. Who are you?
Daisy Curry, I'm the new CEO of HLA. Right here.
Oh, you're with the
So everybody,
Yes, I am.
this is my
staff.
new boss. Be nice to her.
No, perfect. No. So it's
I know
Maria and Mario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we all work together.
Oh, you're
And
working
this is
together.
like day number 4.
Okay, I see now.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So just to kind of answer your question, so we are meeting with a lot of local government and a lot of leadership within the county, a lot of the providers, to talk about this subject and to really see how we can lobby against it. I know that other members have gone to Tallahassee to talk about it and to lobby against this bill. So we are meeting sometime next month to see what else we can do to possibly overturn this, lobby against it. And if it does come to pass, then how could we as a community provide a safe area for our clients and our people who live in our community?
Okay.
So we are working on that, and we are meeting about it. And I think it's really good to hear from this group, you know, other concerns so that we can bring this up to light.
Thank you.
As far as she was talking about, you know, reaching out, you know, on the phone, anybody with any little bit of a brain, turn on TV, look around in your own communities and tell how many homeless people we actually have. And I know firsthand. So as much literature as possible for what she would like to do, pass it out to get more people other than what we have here would be really beneficial to people outside of this place. The more literature printed out would be very beneficial.
Yep.
And more people would come and support other groups on the outside and kind of join together. That's the main goal, right? To get people off the streets, to get them shower clothes, eat, safe, you know, all of that.
Yeah. Did you hear all that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Just making sure.
You have it a little bit.
That's why I asked. I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah. And on that note, I think that this is a really good moment to talk about. I think that it would be really beneficial if this group, if we were to talk about some key talking points, because I can't make a document to hand out if we don't figure out what's going to go on that document in this room. So let's talk about some key talking points and some things that we would like to see or hear or have the community know, because that's really what we need to talk about. I also would like to mention that Gary has been out in the community. Gary has been distributing, has been distributing, passing around to everybody, these informal surveys. So this is not a CoC survey, it is an informal survey. But the CoC is collecting them. And I'm going to put them all together in a little spreadsheet so that we can share this with the board and whatnot to get kind of a better idea of what the community has to say about all this. Here, Mario, I don't know if you've seen that yet. One look.
Your personal opinion on what it is.
Yep. So here, Gary, I'll let you introduce what you've been doing.
Hi, everyone. What that is a survey.
Gotta be straight down.
Straight down. Okay. That is a personal survey for the chairwoman at the CoC. She wants to know everyone's opinion on what that law and exactly as the questions are. Those who are going, you don't have to put your name on it. You can. But that is going directly to the chairwoman, so that way she gets everyone's take, what their opinion is, how they feel about it. So that way that can focus the direction for us to go. I've been having people fill out those, I've been having clergy fill out, police officers, outreach police officers, regular uniformed officers, business owners, people in a lot of businesses around, like feeding Pinellas, where a lot of the homeless will have lunch. Some of the food banks. We even have Mike Rose here from one of the food banks just down the road here, who very, very kindly every day they have lunch there. But this is to get your opinion on what that bill is going to do. And what do you think about it? What do you think we can do about making it? Is it going to make it tougher, make it easier? You know, it's for your personal opinion. If your personal opinion is it sucks, then that's your personal opinion. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Give me a second. My heel really hurts, so I'm like, oh, absolutely. Guests are welcome to speak.
This is weird. I come from the land of being a KJ and a DJ, so just talking to the microphone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so here, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Colleen Wilson, and I am born and raised in Pinellas, Minnesota. I moved to Florida in 2005. I actually got here the same day, and I didn't realize this until I've done my research, but Rosa Parks had passed away. Rosa Parks was an African-American woman who stood up for her human rights and discrimination, and she won. And so I'm sitting here with all of my paperwork because I have been fighting homelessness since 2017, not by my fault, but by the negligence of government weather weaponization, of landlord negligence, predatory landlord issues, and a continued breakdown of our dysfunctional system in our cluster muck of a government. I am livid. I am tired of seeing people being abused and bullied and treated like crap. I am tired of being discriminated. I was unable to finish getting my bachelor's in music because of this whole entire mess from a stupid hurricane that FEMA couldn't even hold up to the accountability to do their responsibility in their job. And you know what? I wrote to Governor Ron DeSantis and President Trump almost every day for 4 years without one response from any of those people. I've been in the shelters with my service animal. I have lived in very inhumane living conditions. I have been assaulted on the streets. And you know what? And guess what? When I stood up for myself, guess who got in trouble? I got. You know what I thought with it? I can't even tell you how many legal cases I have filed in federal and district courts. I even drove up to Washington, D.C. to file my legal paperwork against the United States Corporation. And I have some information right here, you guys. Amendment number 8, excessive bail shall not be required nor excessive fines imposed, cruel or unusual punishment infected. And you know what that means? When you throw somebody out on the streets, that is cruel and unusual punishment against a human being. I don't care. There's really no reason for it at all. Additionally, the 14th Amendment says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge from the privileges or the immunities of citizens on the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or property without due process. And you know what? To put somebody out in the streets like that is absolutely illegal, and it violates a person's human rights to both of these constitutional rights and the Declaration of Independence. So guess what? You know what, you guys, it is tired of allowing people to be getting bullied and discriminated against. Well, they have just opened the border, okay, to allow millions of people into this country, to throw all the Americans out on the streets, okay, so they can continue their monopoly game to monopolize the people in the system to keep the money going. That's what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on that should be going on. So on November 2nd of 2022, I actually put all of my paperwork, and I've got all my stuff right here. You guys are welcome to look at any of this information here. Property rights, housing, and the American Constitution, the social government interventions, and how they don't want to fix anything. So I've got all this documentation right here legally, okay, that needs to be dealt with and addressed. Not only that, I have a treaty and a lien that I actually filed in federal courts because I was still with it. Because if you don't have stability with housing, okay, you are not able to maintain anything. I mean, I may look kind of okay to you guys, and I may look like I'm not homeless because I had to find a way to fill some water bottles, and I had to get a dog pool to sit in the back of my van to, you know, kind of try to wash up. And you know what? It's insane how people are having to live like this. And it's absolutely inhumane that the government is participating in this, and they are allowing humanity to be treated this way, you guys. It's called crimes against humanity. And over my dead body, are they going to continue to do this to me or anyone else? I'm tired, and I'm sorry. I'm tired too. I keep going. Just bring it back to the talking point. But anyway, so here's what we need to do. And I believe that I do have a lot of the solutions to help solve these problems. And I believe that we need to get back to a place that every single person should have the constitutional rights to be able to have their own home and a piece of the land that this whole country was built on back in 1776. And you know what? George Washington did say that he was concerned when they created, okay, the two-party political system, that eventually the country would get to a very serious evil divide, that it would cause such a major war that it's going to be horrible. And we've already, look at what we've already seen in the past 7 years. So anyways, just to kind of make a long story short, so I mean, I would like to maybe talk a little bit further. I don't want to get into everything, but I do have a treaty and a lien that I filed. And that's exactly what I would like to figure out, maybe how we can work together to start with this. And on this treaty and this lien, basically, it's, you know, I'm taking my country back, taking my rights back, and taking this house back so we can fix the situations and the problems, because apparently it's getting worse. So
thank you for sharing. Thank you very, very much. And I think that that is a good segue into talking about talking points and how we can truly address this moving forward. So it is 6:19, so we have 41 minutes left. So I will do a couple more comments, but then let's go ahead and let's really start figuring out what this group wants to say about this Florida legislation.
Address this lady right here. I'm the grandmother out of Branson that is Marie over in Arizona. You're fighting a huge system, not just here, but across all of the United States. There's millions and millions of homeless people everywhere you go. Look around. People need to reach out to their local pastors that are good pastors. By the way, today is Holy Thursday. To let everyone know that. Holy Thursday. And if you reach out to people that really care, join together, there's a lot of good people that really want to help. I had to drive to Miami. I was not homeless, but I had to drive to Miami. I couldn't find a motel room. I got lost down there, but the fire department let me take a shower. So the local fire departments are very good about helping assist you. And there needs to be stuff for people that has transportation, period. 100%. Yeah. Because most of the people that are homeless cannot get to and fro, so that's really all I have to say right now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate what everybody is saying and is getting at. I think that these are wonderful things for us to work on. I do really, really want to bring the conversation back to discussing this Florida legislation. These are really, really important conversations to have. What's been going on and what is needed, absolutely wildly important conversations to have. For the sake of urgency, because this is an urgent issue. I really do want to bring the conversation back to Florida Senate Bill 1530 and House Bill 1365.
Yes.
Because that's really, really what we need to address. Sir, I know you had your hand up, and then Gary, you had your hand up as well. So I will go ahead, I will do those two comments, but then I really, really, really want to bring it back to these talking points, because if I go to the executive committee next Friday and I don't have any talking points from this group, y'all are gonna make me go with my tail between my legs. Don't do that.
Yeah, thank you everybody for organizing this event. My name is Cal Tiger. I'm a local entrepreneur. My situation is a little better than a lot of people.
No, you gotta hold it really down. It's not a very good microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Cal Tiger. I'm a local entrepreneur. I've attended from these meetings before we have at the local library. What I just wanted to bring up is first time I heard about these two, you know, the Senate bill and the House Bill 1365. So first my, you know, I heard about it, and I think it's going to definitely make it harder for homeless people to find a place to sleep. And my suggestion, my suggestion to the lawmakers is that they should try it for a weekend before they try out these kinds of regulations. And do you have any other thoughts about these bills? Fight it. Okay, they're all American citizens here. I'm glad you guys are here. Organize, fight, you know, organization is key to everything. And then what do you think lawmakers should know about homelessness? I'd like to just mention something. I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I'd like to say this. Elon Musk can sleep in his own factory, right? That's the one that we not allowed. You know, he turned his Twitter headquarters into a sleeping accommodations for 2 months because he wanted a software developer to come down. But we'll bring that up. Squatters. Squatters, I hear stories about squatters running rampant in New York City, California, etc. You know, you stay in one place for 30 days, apparently, and you know, they can't get you out. You know, so why can't the homeless have better housing? There's got to be more affordable housing. I think there's a bunch of other things that I think need to be provided. And so I would love to discuss. I'm always available for, you know, for taking action against these kinds of and with bills. Thank you.
As long as I'm not the one saying it. All right, Gary, do you want to make a comment before we start talking about topics?
Yeah, that has an ambient. It'd be turned up. That's all.
That, but you know what, actually, we turn up the 90 better. There we go. Now it's a little louder. Like I wasn't loud enough for everybody. Okay. So, I guess I don't want to stifle conversation by saying let's no, come on. I don't want to stifle conversation by saying let's focus on talking points, because that sounds like that's a terrible thing that we all just have to sit in a room and one by one decide what our talking points are. That is not how we have to do this. We can have group discussion. If you would like, we can even break out into groups of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Break out into 3 groups of 4 and each come back with a couple of talking points. Does that sound like a good plan? Awesome. So everybody grab your 3 closest neighbors. So you are a group of 4 and it is 6:25 right now.
We'll get a lot done.
It's 6:25 right now. So let's go ahead and be in our breakout groups until 6:40. And in these breakout groups, we will discuss the points that the Lived Experience Advisory Committee wants to make about these bills and the impact that they will have on our community and on you as individuals. So you can focus on the community, you can focus on yourself, you can focus on your neighbor, whatever you think that these talking points should be, whatever you want to say, go ahead, get with the 3 people closest to you. So you are a group of 4 and start chatting.
So I'm heading strong.
Well, then talk to them about the talking points that you've already made. And
They know.
yeah. Well, then join a different group. That's our day. If you want to come to the same group, so
You're part of the next group.
Oh, I am, and I'm talking to the way of it.
So that then here's
I can't hear from over.
let's write that.
They don't have microphones.
Yeah, I know that. Got plenty of space. I mean, everybody needs to do spend money.
Yeah.
To take care of people that are in their home.
It's no function. You gotta,
Then we're gonna go.
I get it. I mean, I've had, yeah.
Anything better here? I can't hear a thing over here.
On the land. That's
We
why.
don't have a microphone. Oh, here?
So here we not have all that application.
Yeah, I never read Yeah, I mean, activation here. Yeah, there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not new.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I know, thank you. Yeah, because she asked us what the implication is that it discussed and what we,
You know, they're coming back, they like, so many people there, and so the whole, because what's going on in the Westfield, I do know this because my grandson is, he's in Arizona, so it's supposed to come.
It will go into.
But this is so bad.
So when you take
They're all from,
they're called.
they don't have a lot of about, but
I've talked to
they need to,
they're typically said.
like afterwards, like that. A lot of them names there. And our other does
So one of the things that I do is one job that people share, people love to
and a lot of I know Gary's all areas really easy that I have not seen. The only place
Well, I would sure how we are all used to all.
There were no sick, health reasons, they lead to the health, you know.
So they want to see your standing for that, when you see that, you need to make sure. I think more and the CFC.
Well, there's mention because there's a lot of them in there's a day.
We are
Medical years. And then you are interesting, go straight to cancer. No, like that's like that one is like, it's dead.
Already got some, because they're working.
And there's a lot of stuff is 40, but.
Share that actually are safe that are like chairman
Like and you can every Sunday. And maybe
well, I mean,
when you're at the street meeting, what say?
We only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah. These issues need to be addressed.
Yeah. Can I get clarification? What are the talking points politically correct, are they to the state legislation as to why we're closing? Or is it to the local government as to how we're going to accommodate the homeless and get this bill? What are the things we're looking for?
But they, no, what they.
Yes, different questions that I think the state legislation, why the bill to look at it, or the local government and how they will accomplish this.
So what we're focused on, the HLC board will work on educating elected officials and whatnot on the providing of homelessness. If you got some, show the brand, show the faces of homelessness. And it could be seriously remote. The top point to be put into growth to be cut into statements media, and also be used when they do interviews, because we are getting interview requests.
Okay.
So we want to spread word and spread compassion and education.
Okay, so.
Education, what I mean, is it education to the legislators? To the public? Well, how would education to the public enhance?
We have to take two. We're talking about.
You're right.
How do you educate?
I've detected, I've been around people, who are not homeless, and they're not too sympathetic.
Yeah, so that's the education. So we're
All these bills. People have told me, the one about the squatters, good. They like that bill.
So we want to show people what homelessness looks like, and that everybody is human, and that you should call them and you should stay on my house.
Okay.
I would propose that one talking point financially is better for the community to resolve the situation than to deal with them.
That couldn't be more true.
Financially, it's better off when they make resources available as opposed to taking out what they can prepare.
Yeah, but the resources, we don't know if the communities, the cities that has the resources to do that. That's why I said we have to engage the federal government, our senator, our representatives in Washington.
You want people to know. 5 minutes to write down a few things that you want people to know.
For our legislators.
No.
Okay.
So we got one. The community is better off financially by providing access to resources than it is dealing with the problems.
Thank you. Thank you.
A few minutes ago about transportation. Even if you have resources, you gotta have access. Which is providing credit for getting people
Bad news.
Oh,
And he had a motorcycle, never found it. He had a place there. I know he
You know, the lights and all these rules are talking about the start, where all the now.
And
Well, that is not. Last year, everybody's already. And not like.
So the next one's not going to come and say, "Look, I got them up." It's intentional. This is intentional. You don't have to go to Harvard and understand what's going on.
I feel like.
And be acting out.
Right.
By design.
And then they let water in the street, I think they're in jail, murder.
Don't make that.
Pardon everybody.
Oh, can you wait? Can you get a list more than?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm the middleman.
And in reality, it's not.
Very much glad you got it.
Life impacts everybody.
Oh, yeah. I need to be here.
Yep.
One of them had it out.
Why?
Okay, I think it's got.
I got three.
Yeah, actually. The Zoom, I have to get a headphone thing because my tablet is wild. Doesn't have like my
Is it just like a little,
Once I have some, yeah.
it's the little plug-in?
Yeah.
I can give you that one, but, let me ask our, I just,
Or if, I don't know.
one minute. And then I'll do the guy.
What I'll do, they do.
Let me ask our, IT team.
After that, we'll have to go to, and then we go to Howard West.
They're amplified.
What, you know, it's lunch back.
At five.
Yeah, they have big expensive ones.
I haven't had a kid, in fact, I just got ready.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyhow, so that's the whole thing.
that's a whole other.
Okay, awesome. I am texting right now to ask if they're, if we have one meeting, we don't have to spend the money.
I see, you're like my granddad.
Oh, yeah.
What are you for?
I'm, no, that was me asking if we could do a thing meeting. I just asked right now, so we haven't said you, I'll let you know what she says. Asking you shall make.
I didn't know they did.
Okay. All right. It is 6:41. Does everybody want like one more meeting?
I have people asking me about.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Take a few seconds.
I should have brought over some people.
We'll take a few seconds to wrap up our talking point.
That is.
All right, it is 6:42, everybody. So if we could wrap it up. And then does every group feel like they select one person from their group and take no more than 3 minutes per group to discuss your talking points?
And
Oh, time to Jesus, yes.
Yes, on the timer.
basically.
All right. So with that in mind,
Okay.
is there a group that would like to present first?
I said, this is reading what I.
All right.
My phone, let's just go ahead and read it.
Okay, so everybody, we are gonna have our first readout talking point.
So we had a lot of talking points here, but some of the ones that we thought were really good were regulations on rent, but not just regulating rent, but putting tax on property managers and landlords. Making sure that we have maybe possible tiny homes at some point, we can bring that up. Rehabilitation of vacant buildings and property. Possible, and also talking about the criminalization of this bill to our homeless population, that it's cruel, it's a cruel, unusual punishment. That's something that continuously comes up in our conversations. I had mentioned maybe some scattered site assistance. I know some of the team members in my group were saying, well, that's just a temporary fix. And it is a temporary fix, but it could be something that could lead as a transitional housing for the moment until we can get further rapid rehousing services to more permanent housing solutions. So those are kind of the items that we discussed. Did I miss anything? I think you did.
Excellent. I like this theme of putting my new boss on to work. Thank you guys. Well done. All right, is this group ready?
Yeah, we are. With regard to public awareness to the housing situation, our talking points were that it's financially better for the community to address the homelessness issue than it is to address the problems caused by the homeless issue. It probably costs less to provide some sort of camping or housing or whatever as it is to have them on the streets and all the problems that comes from that. So we believe that it's financially better for the community itself to address the homeless issue. Also, as far as public awareness, transportation to resources, being able to get people to wherever the resources is. It's not uncommon at all to have resources in one part of the city or the county, and people on the other side have no way of getting to it, or even don't even know about it. Crime reduction. Resolving the homeless issue will be a drastic reduction in crime.
I don't think
Again, that goes back to.
I don't agree with drastic.
Well, that's fine. But that's our talking point. And as far as making the public more aware of the problem, we suggest possibly doing interviews with homeless people, as to why they're homeless and what efforts they go through to get out of homelessness and why that's not succeeding for them in particular. A lot of people are not only individuals, but there's families out there that are homeless.
Yeah.
There are children that are homeless. And I don't think people realize that. And if we can personalize that with family stories and individual people's stories, to put that in a brochure or some possibly even a video story or something. But anyway, that's our points.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. And this group, who wants to read out from here? Your face says not me. Our newest board member, Mr. Scott.
Right. We're basically talking about the Senate bill, how this bill is going to take people that are already in a bad situation of being homeless, and they're going to get to municipalities not wanting to be sued by anybody, or just going to put them in jail. Now the person who's homeless now has to pay criminal record for being trespassed, which is gonna make it harder for them to get a job. Basically, it's just gonna dig the hole deeper and make things harder to try and get them up on their feet, get out of this situation. So, you know, the whole goal is to get people out from being homeless. And all the bill is really gonna do is just throw you farther down in the hole. The city, I find it very hard to believe, my personal opinion, that cities are going to negate an area, provide 24-hour security, run plumbing out there, social services. You cannot force wraparound services on people. They're gonna resist that. They're not gonna want that. And if you're arresting them, now you're gonna make them not trust people offering services to help. They're not gonna wanna seek the help because they're not gonna trust these people anymore. And I've had that same exact opinion given to me from several different police officers, several different police agents. You know, you cannot force, you know, this bill will force people, you know, wraparound health care on. You know, the idea that a municipality is going to provide running water to the bathrooms, 24-hour security, you know, basically setting up a tent city. And then the state is not going to give the municipalities money to do it.
Exactly.
So what's going to happen? The municipality is just going to send them to jail.
Hold on.
Now you got somebody already in a bad situation, a worse situation. Now they're in jail. They have a police record, and that's going to affect their chance to get a job. You know, it's a trickle down problem. It's just going to make it worse.
Well, I would
Yeah,
think
Norman.
the only one thing about what you say is if this is established, so-called these camps and whatever, right? And the money, that what you call it, the street outreach people will know to go there. Because you'll have all people in different situations. And they must be able to go there and address each individual from that point, you see, because now everything is so scattered. Some street groups don't even show up, and when I was part, I never saw it here.
The street outreach officers won't be going to like these encampments. All right, street outreach police officers are the ones that deal with the homeless people on the street, especially the division of the police officers. They're saying that the municipalities have to provide social services at these locations.
Social services, where I'm saying.
I said the way it's worded is that the municipalities have to provide wraparound services, social services, as well as plumbing, 24-hour security, and everything else in these places. But the state is not giving them the funds to do this.
Right.
I find it very hard to swallow the fact that.
Well, that's why I said
do this without any kind of funding.
Yeah, that's why I said we have to get either the federal government or money in Tallahassee to allocate the funds, right? Because right now the cities, the towns, the county, many of them, they don't have the funds to do.
Exactly.
This is a necessity.
That's what we're gearing up about.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be a solution to these problems. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. That's for what are we going to do about this? You know, and one of the questions that I think is the most prominent is the one at the bottom of the page. What do you want lawmakers and local leaders to know about homeless? You know, you need to know a little bit more about what you're passing laws for. You know,
Only because, one lady said it good, they all ought to be a police officer, anybody that's in good service, police officer, they ought to put, you know how they put it, like my grandson went to boot camp, right? So everybody knows about this man does, this man here knows that. Brandon right there knows firsthand, who just got out and lost his whole team still. I can only imagine that. I've lost one son because he got thrown into homelessness. He tried to get out, but he was missing 2 years. And and he ended up with AIDS, and he ended up dying last year. So don't get me started, okay? But the main thing, police officers and everybody else should try, they should put them through a class, let them experience being homeless for a couple of weeks. That should be a law put into action for everybody across this whole country, because they're fighting over this, that, the other law, and we never push anything into real laws. And we have really good people like this man here. I know he goes to Elevated Church. I go to City on a Hill. But, you know, I can tell there's a lot of compassion in this room. But there needs to be other solutions to adopt in laws to push it forward. That's basically it, because there's first experience, don't let your anger out. That's why today's Holy Thursday. It's in the Bible, it is Holy Thursday. And but there's other ways to get through things, like real life experiences to get you to a point where you say, hey, why hasn't this law been put into effect for officers, for social workers like Northwest Church? We have a lady named Gwen, who's a nurse, a lady named Laura, who's a nurse that comes in there. You can get your labs, one blood goes out there, and I'm sure Elevated Church is basically the same. And so it's really good things that I'm seeing across here in Pinellas County. So, but there could be other things put in place.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody sharing. I think that this is wonderful. I think that we have a few things we can definitely take to executive committee, a few things that I can pump into a document, and I will probably reach out to our lived experience leadership as well throughout this process to run some things by y'all and I get a feel, and then before any document becomes official, I will not release any document for Lived Experience Advisory Committee that the Lived Experience Advisory Committee has not seen. So I will be sure to email whatever it is, and if everybody's okay with it via email, and if the leaders approve, wonderful, we'll go ahead and release it, because again, time is of the essence. If not, however, we will go ahead and bring it to the next meeting.
Okay,
yeah,
and I'm in the process again, I'm trying to get our emails straightened out because we use the same cell phone, so we have a lady that's helping us. So that might take a little bit.
Okay, see me about that after. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah, see me about that after.
Well, I have a question. I don't know if this is the right time. Going back to the old.
Okay.
Is it okay? It is a proposed law may stop county to the cities from letting people sleep outside without approval from DCF. What does that constitute? Approval from the DCF?
Great question. So if you look at the description in the agenda, it will talk about that a little bit more and provide a little bit more information. But so what that means is that the Department of Children and Families, DCF, has to certify these safe sleeping zones. So if the municipality, if the county has to create one of these safe sleeping zones, before anybody can sleep in it, it has to be certified by DCF. So we have to have a DCF agent come out, say, yes, you can have people stay here. And then it has to be posted to the county's website within a certain amount of time and a bunch of red tape.
So they're not certifying individual people?
No, good, okay. Great question and great point of clarification. They are not certifying you as an individual. They are certifying the space with the county or municipality. Yeah, great point of clarification. I appreciate that. So it is now, I think 6:55, am I right?
6:55, yeah.
6:55, I'm good. So it is now 6:55, and I would like to, if it's okay with you, Madam Secretary, open it up to public comment. If there is anything that anybody would like to share with the good of the group, you have a couple of minutes to do so now. Is there anything that anybody would like to share? Any resources you'd like to make people aware of? Or?
Again, thank you again, folks. I've started a training company that provides computer software training skills and also financial literacy training. I think financial literacy is greatly useful for people that are going through what I call extreme financial duress. I've been through it. I've been homeless myself. I've stayed at the I've stayed at Safe Harbor, etc. But fortunately for me, last year things turned around and I got my American citizenship. Thanks to one of the other local nonprofits. Finally, I got a job on Honeywell. Then when that ended, I got another job on Raytheon. And I went up making say, a social security rate just to, almost 12 times that, so I made a lot of money. So I started my own company. I have about 5 employees in my company. We're always looking for employees, but we can train you in things like artificial intelligence, Microsoft Office skills, the kind of things that people want. We've been happy to do it. I have employees and give supervisor training. We're also looking for testers. Everybody can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Just feel free to send me information about training. Is there anything else that anybody would like to share for the good of the group with the next couple of minutes?
Well, there's one thing, in this Senate bill here, right? It says that municipalities may, it doesn't say must. And the may.
They must if they don't have adequate shelter space, because otherwise they risk getting.
Yeah, well, to my knowledge, there is no adequate shelter base right now.
In fact, I can tell you there is not.
Yeah, the only shelter space is a cold night shelter once in the blue moon, right? And most men don't have shelters. So the only way is to make sure that through the federal government or the Florida legislature, that funding is specifically with that funding allocated for this purpose to the municipalities, and then they must, right? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to pay for it, so yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Because right now,
this is not something we prepared for.
They can say they don't have the funding.
That does not matter. There is, for what it's worth, there is a little caveat for specifically low-income communities. Pinellas County does not count that.
Right. One quick. Okay, first of all, I wanted to say a huge shout out and thank you for you guys, CEO, for first of all, spending the time to have an organization to actually try to invest in helping the crimes against humanity that's going on, to stand up against the laws that do violate people's rights. So without, ado, with you guys being here, like I said, we would be here as well to help make a difference in our communities, because either we can sit here and complain about the problem, or we can make a difference and actually come up with solutions to fix them. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Is the security guard throwing everything?
That's true. No,
Making sure we're safe.
I figured he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, but he keeps coming to the windows, and I'm like, okay. So with that in mind, I thank you all very, very much for being here. I know that these conversations are sometimes difficult. So I thank you all for being here, for sharing your opinions, for sharing your experiences and your expertise. Please don't tell my husband I said this, but I am not the expert. And so I appreciate all of you coming in here because you are the experts. Seriously, don't you tell him. So, and thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate it. I do want to let you know that there is a CoC membership meeting at the St. Petersburg Housing Authority on April 9th. We will also be streaming this on Zoom, but I wanted to invite everybody to that. It is listed on our website, so you can see it if you go to the calendar, but April 9th at 5:30 p.m., that's going to be a Tuesday, April 9th, 5:30 p.m., we will be meeting at the St. Pete Housing Authority to have a CoC membership meeting. And if you want to come and you want to meet some of the CoC board members, hello, Mr. Small. If you want to meet Ms. Correa once again, if you want to meet some of the HLA board members, please come. Please come and come to the meeting, talk to folks, meet folks, let them know what you think. And we'll talk a little bit about homelessness in Pinellas County at that as well. And for all members, not just LEAC members, for all lived experience members, not just lived experience advisory committee members. If you are a lived experience member of the CoC and you come to the membership meeting, you also get a stipend for that. just so you know. We get paid to be at these meetings. We think you should as well. So that's all I've got. Madam Secretary, is there anything that you would like to say?
This meeting is adjourned.
What time is it?
It is.
7:02, meeting is adjourned. Okay, if there is anybody, oh, I will pass out, these. Mario, can you make sure everybody gets one of those? If there is anybody who needs a bus pass, I also have them. If there is anybody who wants to talk to me about joining the COC, about transportation needs, Norm, you and I will get together, or anything like that, please let me know. Oh, and I forgot I did actually bring one more thing for you guys. I know folks like having business cards, so I brought extra business cards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to sit here and wait for me to do this. I'm just gonna get, I'm gonna get the blank business cards out for anybody.
Everybody feel free now.
Thank you all very much. You are all free to go. Thank you very much.